Hi guys, so today is our lunch portion of our 6-part videos, and for this one I am making a chicken salad with walnuts and cranberries. Now originally I got this recipe off of Paleo Running Mama, but I do not love dates and didn't have the time to chop them, so I am substituting cranberries for dates. But you can do it any way you like, and I'm also using pre-made rotisserie chicken instead of frying the chicken myself. Now the reason I'm doing this is because lots of people don't have a ton of time on lunch, because unlike our breakfast that we made in the last video, you can't just make it the night before sometimes. So this is a very quick and easy recipe, and one that I think is going to be very good. So what you're going to need a cup of chopped walnuts. I got them, like, some of them were a little bit bigger, but then, you know, some of them were a little smaller. And then the 1/2 cup of cranberries or chopped dates, if that's what you prefer. 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. And then 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. And you may think that mayonnaise is not paleo, but you can get this one. It's made with olive oil instead of canola oil. And this brand is definitely paleo, and you can use that if you'd like, so I thought I'd include that. And then 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. And then also our rotisserie chicken. This is way more chicken than I need. I just wanted to show that this is how it comes. This is like a whole rotisserie chicken, and my grandma shredded it for me. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so our first step, and this is actually the only step that uses any form of heat or oven or anything like that. So the rest of this is smooth sailing once we get this finished. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my walnuts and I'm just gonna scatter them out on this tray. Make sure that they're nice and broken up, and see, like, I found one that's like really big. So I'm just gonna break that up. If you see any that are like a little bit too big that you might have missed when you were chopping, I just kind of go ahead now, take a look at them all spread out, and make sure that they're all the size that you prefer. Some people might want smaller pieces, or some might want bigger pieces, so it really depends on you. Next, I'm going to take my cinnamon and I'm just going to drizzle that all over. And I'm not going to really mix this around too much. I might like use my hands a little bit, kind of spin it around, but for the most part you're not stirring in any sort of oil or anything like that. You're just using the cinnamon to bring out the flavor of the walnuts, so you don't really need to do much to this. And I am going to put this in my 300-degree heated oven for about 10 minutes, but really just until they're lightly toasted, or whichever degree of toastiness that you like. Okay, so I have my toasted nuts in this big clear bowl, and I just went ahead and put them in here because we're just going to mix everything up as our last step. So this big bowl will kind of be where everything happens. So I sectioned off a little bit of that chicken from before, and I cut it up into smaller bite-sized pieces so we wouldn't have to cut. And I'm not quite sure if this is enough chicken, but I'm going to add less, and then I can always add more if I need. And I missed my bowl. That's okay. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of salt, which was not in her recipe, but I find that, like, to overset especially the sweetness of the cranberries, will need some. I'm gonna add in my mayonnaise, and I overfilled it a little bit so we don't have to really worry about getting too much out of that. I'll put in my cranberries, and again, that looked like a little too much, so I'm gonna leave a little bit extra just because they're not the dates, and I want to make sure that my ratio is correct. And I'm gonna pour in my lemon juice. Now, this part is, again, the most important. If you watched my last video, you'd know it's kind of all about the mixing, because what we don't want is it to be not incorporated. We want everything to be in its perfect shape, and we want it all to be good. And it looks like I'm not having too many cranberries, so I'm gonna dump the rest in. I didn't really realize until the end, so I didn't have very much to add. But again, just making sure this is really well mixed. And this is also one of those things that letting it sit is probably going to make it taste better. So just like coleslaw or any other types of egg or chicken salad, it's best to let it kind of sit in the freezer, maybe even overnight. All the flavors will combine, and it'll taste less like you just mixed everything together, and more like it's all incorporated into one thing. So we are going to plate, and then we'll be done.
Don't pick up the phone, you know he's only calling because he's drunk and alone too. Don't let him in, you have to kick him out again free. Don't be his friend, you know you're gonna wake up in his bed in the morning.
So that concludes this video. Here I have my chicken salad, and again, like this last video, this is totally something that you can make your own. So I didn't love dates and I didn't have time, so I just threw cranberries and then went. It's kind of like that. You can kind of mix and match whatever type of chicken salad things you want. Now, this is good to take with you places because it's high in protein. It'll make you full, and you can just store it in the refrigerator and eat it later. Now, lunch is very important to get all your protein throughout your day, and personally one of my favorite meals. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is number 3 of our series, and I will see you next time. Bye!